Hello Aquarians, welcome back to Souls Intersect. I have your June of 2016 reading. If you're interested in getting a private reading with me, please email me at soulsintersect@gmail.com. I do intuitive tarot video readings, and I also do past life readings. If you're interested in reading more about any of those, you can visit my website at soulsintersect.weebly.com. So I pulled 4 cards for you this month using my Charmin Caselli deck. And it has some really interesting imagery for this reading in particular. So, as an overview, I do feel that something that you've been very connected to is coming to an end, a very painful ending. I know that there's a lot of cards here that are tough to get in a tarot reading, especially when there's so few cards. It seems like a really powerful message here. So I do feel that this is going to be mainly focused on relationship energy for a lot of you. Sorry about that. So the only other thing that it could be in relation to that I'm getting is possibly a death. It feels like some of you may have experienced a sudden death of a loved one, either recently or you just recently heard about it. Or it's possible with the Sun card there that it's something that took place, that it's an anniversary maybe, something that happened a year ago or several years ago around this time of year, and so it's something that you're kind of re-experiencing now. It does feel like it was sudden because that tower is there, and during the anniversary you kind of re-experience the suddenness of that and the shock. And so with all of these cards, and by the way, the tower was on the bottom of the deck, so that's why I included it here. I feel that with these cards, I'm definitely going to do some healing at the end of the reading. It seems like there's definitely some struggle happening right now for a lot of Aquarians, and I want to be sure to send some healing around that. Okay, so in terms of the relationship, what it feels like to me is that there is an ending of what I would call a karmic relationship. These are the kind of relationships that start up very suddenly, and it seems like you click really well and you get close really quickly. And a lot of times with these, sometimes people even get married within weeks or months, because it just feels like you've met your soulmate. It feels like you've suddenly found the person that you're meant to be with for life. And the reason for that is that these are meant to come into your life, and you're meant to not miss it at all. You're supposed to be in this relationship, and it's because you're supposed to learn something from it, learn something from each other. So for some people, that's an emotional or mental lesson. It can also be that you were meant to come together to start something up, like a business, or sometimes have a child together even, help each other to move to a new place, or to get started in a new career or a course of study or something like that. But the thing about them is that these usually aren't soulmates. They're not, and not even soulmates necessarily have to last a lifetime, but with these especially, they can go out as quickly as they came in, or as suddenly, as shockingly. It feels like something's been cut off, and usually that's because you've learned the lesson that you came together to learn, and then you're meant to move on and to take a new path and meet someone else eventually. But with this reading in particular, I feel that there's a resting period for you. I have the 4 coming right after the 3 of Swords. And the 3 of Swords is definitely that painful heartache that's come from what feels like the ending of this kind of relationship. I am getting for some of you that it might be the beginning of one, and I'll come to that in a moment. But this 4 of Swords here, I think it also came up because of the possible death of a family member for some of you. And in relation to that, obviously the imagery has to do with death and mourning. And so it's about that mourning period and giving yourself time to mourn. And and to, in one sense, put some of the heartache behind you, because you can see in the card right here is the exact imagery of this Three of Swords card. And so it's still in the picture, literally, and it's something that it's in the back though, so it's like you're meant to put it behind you in a certain way, but it's never out of the picture. That doesn't mean that you'll hurt forever, but it's that you will always remember it, because either for the death of the loved one or this relationship, this is something that was a really important part of your life. And in terms of the relationship, it's a very spiritual relationship, and it's interesting because sometimes with these, because of the close connection, you can sort of lose sight of who you are individually. And in some cases that can be really extreme, and it can look like codependency, even especially with this Devil card coming up for some of you, maybe some drug abuse or addictions that you indulge in together, hearing drinking buddies for someone. But sometimes that's not even the case. I feel like for a lot of you, you may have maintained your individuality and still done things that you like and kept the friends that you have, but it feels like even no matter what, in this type of karmic relationship, the two merge into one in a sense, and that can mean that you lose your sense of self somewhat. And so with the Sun card here, well, the Four of Swords is encouraging you to take this time out to recover and to hold the good parts of that relationship in a high regard still, to try to put some of the pain behind you, but give yourself time to heal, and don't rush yourself. I mean, there's nothing rushing about the Four of Swords. It's all about resting and mourning and not taking action forward. So you're definitely also being encouraged to not start something new with someone right now. And I feel like in this Sun card, I feel like this is you. I feel that it's all about that, remembering who you are, because especially for those of you who were in something codependent, but even for those of you who just are getting out of this karmic relationship, this is a time to rediscover who you are at the core, and that's going to bring a lot of brightness and sunshine. It's really good that the Sun is the fourth card here. There's a lot of hope, but also this encouragement to really rediscover who you are. There is this positive energy coming in for you, but you have to, in order to achieve it, you have to really embrace who you are and, again, rediscover it. There's all that earth fertility. I feel like this white horse it's freedom. It's you embracing this individuality, independence for right now, remembering who you are, why you came to this earth, and really just loving yourself. And so hope will come with that. And that's what this is all about for you. For those of you entering into one, with the Tower here, see, the Tower in these kind of relationships could be the beginning of one too, because it is so sudden always. It's always really quick to begin and end. And I think that, so the message for you, if someone's watching this who's beginning a relationship, I do feel that it's probably a karmic relationship. And that's a beautiful thing, remember. It's meant to happen. It's something from spirit. It's a gift. But try to remember that with these, it's most likely not going to be something long lasting. It's very rare for that to happen with these, because again, you're only supposed to come together to do a certain thing usually. Sometimes that can take years, but try to manage your expectations if you are entering into one, and try to just enjoy the moment, and also definitely try to maintain who you are and try to avoid anything codependent happening, because that's going to lessen the pain of this Three of Swords card. And I don't mean to be casting a shadow, like that's where you're going inevitably. I think that even just hearing this is something that can be helpful to understand about these types of relationships. And there's also information on my website about karmic relationships if you're interested in reading, and some blogs that I wrote. So you can check those out if you're interested. Okay, in regard to the death, I'm picking up a lot of sadness around that. I'm hearing the name Mary, and I feel that the loved ones are here. I feel that they they want to send the message that they are here for you still. And in the case of the death in the family, I feel like the Devil card is coming in, not so much to represent a karmic relationship, but to talk about that bond, just to bring up that bond and say that no matter what earthly thresholds there are, the bond is still there, and they are still with you. And they want you to know that they'd also, looking at the Tower, they didn't mean for this to be so sudden. They didn't want it to be so sudden and hurt you the way that it did. That's not something they wanted for you, and they're sorry. And I'm hearing David too. Also focusing in on the doves at the bottom of the Three of Swords card. Down here, these doves of peace and freedom, feels like that's what they want you to focus on and embrace, the freedom, the release. There should be a release and healing that comes from this. And with that, I think I'm going to move into the healing. I really do feel that for those of you who have lost a loved one recently, or have lost one and it was sudden, and it may have been around this time of year, that they're with you, and they want you to know that they are with you. And there's a lot of guidance and support also in regard to the relationship issues that's around you. Okay, so I'm going to start in silence, and I'm going to focus healing both towards those of you who have lost a loved one, and also those of you experiencing an ending, or just all of the ups and downs that this type of relationship can bring. And I may do some humming. And I invite you to just close your eyes and allow. Embrace who you are at the core. You're always with yourself, and you always have access to the sunshine in this sun card and this love of life, and you're really being encouraged to embrace that. Thank you, Aquarians.